evening, everybody. Hope you guys having a great Friday. Thank you for joining us. We're going to give people about a minute before we jump on. Just want to go over some latest news that just popped up here, and wanted to share that with you. We're doing this live, so if you're tuning in and you're listening and you're watching after this live, just know that the music and all that you're hearing, that's just me just waiting, giving about a minute or two for people to jump on, and then we're going to get started. Okay, so that's what we're doing right now. We're just waiting, and then we're going to jump right in. All right. Also, I wanted to mention too that at the conclusion of this broadcast, all these videos that we have been doing on this topic about biolabs, I'm going to make a playlist out of it. I'm just going to put it all on one playlist so that it's easy for you to share, and so you're not hunting and pecking through all of our other videos. Okay, so we'll be doing that soon. All right, we're going to give about another 30 seconds or so, and then we're going to go ahead and jump in and get started, okay? All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for tuning in. So glad to see that you're here and all of that. And we're, like I said again, hope you had a good week, and we made it. We made it, y'all. We're getting ready to cross this finish line to whatever's next when it comes to this whole elections thing. But I'm telling you, I'll be so glad that when this whole thing is over. I know that the world is going to continue to do its thing and all of that, but I think we all need a collective breather. With all this going on, so tired of hearing all this foolishness and going on social media, and people just they're just losing their minds over people who don't even care about them, and it's just something. So yeah, I'm definitely ready for a little break here. But anyway, I just want to jump in and get started again. I really appreciate you guys getting out here. It's going to be very important again for our Atlanta family, and thank you, Anna, and others, to get the word out with this information. Again, starting off, big shout out to the admins of this Facebook page. I'm just gonna bring it up on the screen here, and I'll just show it right here. Let me scroll up here. It's the Facebook page, Stand Against Biolab in Rockdale County, Georgia. This is not my Facebook page. I want to make that absolutely clear. All right. You have admins who are running this, who are local, who are there, and they have been the diligent ones as far as putting the information out as they are coming across it. All we're doing here is just simply amplifying it and pointing people back to this Facebook page. And that way you can connect with like-minded people on the local level, and y'all can get it on and popping at your level. I'm not in Georgia. But, like I said, again, I have strong connections to people there. My own history goes through Georgia. I was married there, had two of our children there, owned a house, started my business there, all of that. So I got deep roots in this Atlanta area. So this is why it's especially this whole story is meaningful to me. But OK, so this evening, what we're going to look at real quick here, this broadcast is not going to be too long at all. Scott Smith, he is the EPA whistleblower, and he's literally all over the country. But he is an individual who has a background in this area, looking at environmental issues, especially when companies are crossing the lines when it comes to polluting the environment, dumping toxins and all that. He's a guy that can go in, he goes into these situations, and he's able to independently go in and see, okay, this is what's really there, in the environment. And so he has called the EPA out many times, and he's very familiar with the games that they play with the citizens. And so we're just very grateful for his work and what he's been putting out. So this evening, what we're going to do is we're going to look at a post that he just posted. I think it was earlier today or maybe yesterday, not sure, where it's a preliminary report. And as he says in his post, this isn't the final result. We want to make this very clear because things can change, a little bit as they're still doing the testing. So this is not the final report, but this is what they have come across initially. All right. In their first findings as they're looking through this. OK, so I just want to make that very, very clear. So let's go ahead and get into it. And I will tell you this, that there's going to be some words here that, quite honestly, I'm not going to be able to pronounce for you. OK, so I'll just show it to you and we'll leave it to the scientists to basically pronounce it right, because I ain't going to be butchering up these words. OK, so let me go ahead and get this up on the screen here and let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let me get this up here. This is what he posted. It was earlier today. All right, I was trying to figure out, was it yesterday or today? OK. So here it is right here. Here's the post here. Let's just read it. We're going to go through it and then I'll share with you, in details, the stuff I was able to find out for each one of these things. OK, so anyway, he says, I have preliminary results for the Biolab biofire in Conyers, Georgia for some VOCs. What are VOCs? They're volatile organic compounds found in the water within about 1,500 feet of ground zero at the retention pond near the dead frog we found. And that's the picture that you see on the thumbnail. And it's a picture down here as well. Note, I have no preliminary results yet for dioxins or SVOCs or soot or ash, soil or surfaces, car hoods, windshields, inside buildings, etc. This is just the water. All right. This is to let the community know on a preliminary basis some of the VOCs, not SVOCs, PAHs, dioxins, again, as I don't have any preliminary results yet. That's on the other stuff. So again, he's being overly cautious and letting people know that we're just looking at the water here. We're not looking at everything else yet because we don't have those results in. He says these chemicals found in the water are preliminary only, subject to change, and no definitive conclusions can be made at this time, including cause and effect related to possible health symptoms. In the water at the retaining pond within 1,500 feet of ground zero in the Biolab biofire in Conyers, Georgia, near the dead frog, the pH was measured and the following volatile organic compounds in the water are identified as follows. And so here's the list here. All right. This is the list here. Hopefully you can see this as 1 through 8. He says a pH of 4.6. And then he goes through some of these other ones like acetone, chloroform, bromoform, and like I said, again, I ain't gonna butcher these words, but this is it right here. Okay. And then he goes on mentioning that he's working on another project. I believe he said in here this Sunday around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, his plan is to do a Facebook live session where he can give even more information. So if you do live in this area, you want to make sure that you're connected to this Facebook page so that you can get in on that and you can get the direct information from him. Okay. So that's what he's saying according to this post here. And as you can see, here's them doing the testing on the right hand side, getting the water. And that's the dead frog that they found there. Okay. So what we're going to do now is, and what's so funny is right before, as soon as I saw this list, well, I saw it earlier today, right? And then I said, I'm going to go back and I'm going to spend some time and get some more information on each one of these things. And so what I did is I went to ChatGPT. But what's so fun, and I got that information, but what's so funny is, I don't know if she's the main administrator, and this is Michelle Lester, Madeline Reese. I don't know if she's the main administrator or at least one of them. She actually did that. I didn't know. I honestly didn't know. And so this is what she did as well. All right. So she went to Chat GPT too to get a breakdown. So, but she asked the question a little bit differently. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go to mine, the one I the one I asked. We're going to go through that, and then we're going to jump to hers and go through that as well. Okay. But honestly, I didn't even know until I came here, and I was like, oh, she, there you go. Good. You know what I mean? Now, she also, on the thumbnail of this video, you see that horse. I believe that's her horse. And she did a post where she's talking about, the condition of her horse. And it doesn't sound too good. It seemed like there's, he's struggling right now. The horse is still struggling right now due to the chemicals and all of that stuff. Now, this is a whole horse. And then someone actually posted some pictures of some plants that they have that are actually dying now. And if you look on the thumbnail of this video, you'll see someone actually posted some pictures of some vegetables that they were growing, a pepper, and then you see the ash on top of it. Okay, so we'll just go through all of that. We're also going to look at the, how on your app, on your phone, how it talks about, it measures air quality. Well, there was something I discovered about that as well. Okay. And so we'll look at that as well. I took some screenshots and I'll show that to you. All right. So let's go ahead and get to Chat GPT. And like I said, again, we're going to look at her results as well. And let's get this up here again. If you got any friends or family that are in the Atlanta area, they don't have to just be in Rockdale County. But if you live in the Atlanta area, make sure you send this link to as many people as possible. Okay. All right, let's go ahead. So I just took his list and I posted in Chat GPT, and I basically asked it to look through each and all of these different compounds and tell me the risk. What are the health risk to the human body? All right, that's basically what I asked. Okay, over the long term. And so here we go. All right, so we're going to start with the first one, pH of 4.6. That's one of the things he found. And it says here, risk. A pH of 4.6 is quite acidic. If consumed, the acidity can cause irritation to the gastrointestinal system, including the throat, esophagus, and stomach. Prolonged exposure to acidic water may lead to conditions like acid reflux or ulceration. All right. So we're taking time to go through this because there are many people who may have experienced some of these things and you just wave it off, but you don't realize that it's connected. It's highly likely it's connected to this whole thing that happened. Right. And so what they say here, they say the safe levels, drinking water pH should ideally be between 6.5 and 8.5 as per the EPA guidelines. And what they're saying is what Scott, his preliminary result is showing that the pH level was at 4.6, which is unsafe. All right. So let's move on to the next one. Number 2, 4-methyl-2-pentanone. And it goes on there and they said, or MIBK. All right. So that was another thing he found. It says the risk, long-term exposure to MIBK can cause irritation to the eyes, skin, and respiratory tract. Chronic exposure can affect the central nervous system, leading to symptoms like headaches, nausea, dizziness, and potentially neurological damage. And they said the safe levels, the EPA has set a lifetime health advisory level for MIBK in drinking water at 0.6 mg/L. All right. So that's that. The next one, like I said, again, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but you got it right here on your screen. This next one, this is what he also found in the water. They said the risk is what this is a byproduct of water disinfection. Chronic exposure can affect the liver and kidney function as well as increase cancer risk. It is considered a potential carcinogen particularly linked to liver and cancer in animal studies. And they said the safe levels they give you here, the EPA maximum containment level goal for this thing is 0 due to its carcinogenicity. Hope I'm saying that right. But it's regulated with other and a THMs with an MCL of 0.08, and it's right there. Okay. And what I'm going to do too is I'm going to copy and paste this on our community page so you can share it and, and get it out to whoever you need to get it out to. Okay. Acetone. Now that one I recognize. By the way, too, I've saw a number of people saying that they're one of the things they're noticing is that their sensitivity to like household chemicals is going way up since this. So that's another thing, to think about. Acetone, they say risk, although it is commonly found in household products, chronic exposure to acetone can cause skin, respiratory, and eye irritation. Ingestion or long-term exposure may lead to kidney, liver, and neurological damage. And then they give you the safe levels here. Okay, it's all acetone does not have a federally regulated maximum containment level in drinking water. However, the Agency for Toxic Substance and Disease Registry suggests that levels before 0.35 in water are generally considered safe. All right, let's move on here. Chloroform. The risk of chloroform, they say exposure over time can lead to liver and kidney damage, as well as nervous system effects like fatigue and headaches. It is also considered a probable human carcinogen linked to liver and kidney cancers. And they mentioned again the safe levels, and they give you that. Okay, they said the safe level for this is 0. In other words, this shouldn't even be in the water. So if they're finding that in the water, according to this, no, it shouldn't even be in the water. All right, let's go to the next one. This is bromoform. The risk is chronic exposure to bromoform, another disinfection byproduct, can affect the liver, kidneys, and central nervous system, and it may increase cancer risk. And then they mention the safe levels is 0.08 for drinking water. The next one here, I ain't going to even try that. Okay, maybe offline I'll try it, but that's the next one. We're at number 7 right here. They said the risk that long-term exposure can affect the liver and kidneys. You notice this keeps coming up, the liver and the kidney health, and is also considered a probable carcinogen. Exposure has been linked to gastrointestinal issues and an increased risk of certain cancers. All right. And then it says safe levels is 0.08. All right. And then they give you that one. And then we got one more. 2-butanone. They said the risk, while less toxic than the other compounds, long-term exposure to MEK can cause skin, eye, and respiratory irritation and may potentially lead to liver and kidney issues. And they said that the MEK does not have an MCL, but the, in that organization, provisional screening levels suggest concentrations below 0.35 as a precautionary measure. All right. So, yeah, this is very concerning. And, that he's finding all of this stuff in the water, the local water already. This is why we said, again, when the county is saying that, hey, we're doing tests in the water, you got to ask, what exactly are you looking for? You understand what I'm saying? Because like Steve has been saying, you can't find what you ain't looking for. All right. And you're going to see when we switch up and look at the air quality. All right. You're going to see that as well. All right. So this is what Madeline, she posted 12 hours ago. And again, I had no idea that she was, going to go on Chat GPT. I'm glad it was posted there. Let's see. So she asked the release. So she posted, and this is the result she got. It says Chat GPT, the release of these chemicals in the air from a chemical plant fire can pose significant health risks to both humans and animals. Here is a breakdown of potential risk associated with each chemical. And since, it's kind of duplicate, I'm just going to kind of go through it real quick here. So the first one here, the methyl something, right? They say can cause respiratory irritation, headaches, dizziness, and nausea. The next one, number 2, which is right here, skin irritations and the liver damage. That's another one. Acetone, same stuff. Chloroform, same kind of similar stuff. Bromoform, dizziness, headaches, same stuff. A lot of this stuff, like I said, is again, it's repetitive on what we shared, but it's there. Let's see here. And then she asked this. She says, "What would constitute prolonged exposure to these chemicals?" And that's a good question. And then it came back. Prolonged exposure to these chemicals generally refers to repeated or continuous contact over an extended period, which can vary based on specific substance and the context. Here's a breakdown of what might constitute prolonged exposures for the chemicals you listed. And then it gives a breakdown here. It says short-term exposure usually lasts for minutes to hours. Prolonged exposure typically means days, weeks, or months. Occupational settings for workers in industries where these chemicals are used, prolonged exposure might occur through daily contact over a work week or longer. Let's see here what she got here. I'm just going here. Let's see. Concentration levels, route of exposure. Okay, so that's, you can look through that as well. Again, this is all on the Facebook page here. But that's a very good question that she asked there, okay? I'm just trying to keep it moving. I want to make sure that, people know where to get this information. Okay, so let's move on here. There was something else I wanted to share on this too. Like I said, again, we're not going to be on here too long. Let's see here. Someone posted these pictures here. Let me see if I can get to them. And if you haven't caught up, you didn't see the video, the live we did yesterday, we spent a little bit of time talking about that and talking about this issue. We played a video from the gentleman who was responsible and, for helping to call this stuff out in the county. And, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. So there was a video that he did where he's calling out every last one of these people who are now claiming that they're leading the charge to bringing in to Biolab. But, it's something how things can change real quick. But anyway, he's calling these people out. So you definitely want to check that one out as well. This is someone posted this, and remember we had mentioned not too long ago, we talked about people who are growing stuff. I wouldn't need it. You just throw it out. Go ahead and just throw that stuff out. I wouldn't even need it. This is someone who's growing like soursop. They were growing like pineapple and stuff. And they're showing you with these pictures here that they're dying. They're actually dying now. All right. Let's see here. So now, then there was another picture that I want to share with you here. Let me see if I can get to that. Someone actually found this. I guess they were growing peppers. And here's the picture here. There you go. So if you zoom in on this, this is the stuff that Scott was saying that he hasn't gotten results on it. This is the stuff, the ash and stuff. They didn't get to, he only tested the water. But notice it's like all on these vegetables here. You can't eat that. You can't just wash that off. You got to throw it out. All right. So that's what they're finding there on a local level. Okay. All right. Let's move on here and let's get to something else that someone posted. Get back here. And thank y'all for joining again. If you got any friends or family that are in the area, please make sure you share this link with them. Okay. This is all extremely important, for them to be abreast on all of this stuff here. Okay. So here we go. This is one of the admins of the group. She has a horse, and this is the horse right here. And she says, let's see. This is what she posted here. She said, Miss Maddox said it best at town hall. It doesn't hurt home until it hits home. This is Amos Lee, my best friend and beloved horse. I spent time with him last night and cried my eyes out at his current condition and the fear of losing him. Amos has been experiencing allergies and congestion for the last several months. This was kept under control until Sunday when I noted he was severely struggling to breathe. I immediately worked to get my vet out. He was diagnosed with HEMS on Monday morning. He is on medication but is still struggling to breathe, and at this point I am starting to fear the worst. I am told that what started as a simple allergies that now threatens his life could be directly correlated with the Biolab fire. I thought Loganville was far enough away. I thought he would be okay. I don't know if we will be able to keep this under control or not. I don't know if my beautiful, young, and kind horse will pull through. And due to the lack of information given us up to date, I still, as of now, don't know this is directly related to biolabs. And she says, should I have sent him away? And then she goes on. All right. And just talking about, again, the impact that, this is even having on wildlife. There was someone else that on pets and stuff, someone else that had a local bee farm. I remember reading that, and they said all their bees died. All right. So that's another thing, too, to keep in mind, too, is you got to, those of you who have pets and stuff like that, you got to keep that in mind. Let's see. I think that was all on this page. That was the main stuff on this page. Okay, so now what I want to move to is, and I'm still looking right now. I'm just going through. Let me just show you one last time. Again, if you are in the area and you just wanting to keep track of this, of what's going on there, just from the locals, you want to make sure you get on this page here. Okay, you want to make sure you subscribe to this page. Again, this is not my page. This is not mine. This is something that the locals are doing. You want to make sure you connect with them. Okay. Another thing I will say again is that keep in mind, for those of you who are running to Biolab to try to get some kind of handout, I'm not here to tell you what and what not to do. Okay. You do what you feel you need to do, but I want you to keep this in the back of your mind. What you're doing is basically going to the criminal and asking for them to fix something. Okay, that's really what you're doing. So keep that in mind. If you are expecting for them to make something right, they're never going to make it right. They're the ones that caused this to happen in the first place. And this is not the first time this has happened. This has happened other times as well in the past. And, it's unfortunate, but it's true, and so keep that in mind. And I also saw people saying that, when I went to Biolab, and they said that they're going to give me some type of compensation. They didn't ask for me to sign anything. So I think it's kind of sort of safe. Well, remember the article that we read the other day about it. They may not be asking you to sign anything, but what they are also saying is that if you get anything from them, they're going to take whatever it is that they've given out and whatever they ultimately agreed to pay in the class action lawsuit, they're going to deduct it from that. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. What was the other thing too about that? So just keep that in mind. Okay. Drinking water, again, you want to, given what we just read to you, please keep that in mind, because again, if they're not testing for these types of chemicals if the county isn't presently testing for those types of chemicals and they just have a general grid that they're looking at and what they're testing, that test is garbage. They need to be testing specifically for those types of chemicals to see if any presence of that is in the water. Okay. So that's what you want to test. You also want to ask them, have any of these chemicals or any of these compounds that you're finding in there, have you noticed any spike in any of these compounds that you guys are detecting in our water? It's a very important question. All right. Because even if it's a spike, and once they're telling us, hey, once they say it's spiked, but it's still in the safe zone, you still want to make sure you take note of any spikes in anything. Okay. Based on what we're hearing, it doesn't sound like they're going to give that kind of information. This is why, again, we've been pleading with locals to make sure you get your water that's going to your house or to your apartment. You want to make sure you're getting that tested on your own, okay? If you're in a rental situation, make sure you go to your landlord or whoever it is that own that property and pretty much demand that they do it, all right? Because you're paying the rent. And when you were paying the rent, you didn't agree to get chemical water. All right. So don't just kind of hear what we're saying and just kind of let that roll over your back. This is very important. You notice all those compounds that we just read. What was the number? What were the main things that it was attacking in the human body? Your liver, right? And your kidneys. All right. So those are the things you got to keep in mind too, as you're consuming that water, or even if you're washing in that water, those are things you got to keep in mind. All right. All right. So let's move on to the other thing. And this is really the final thing here. When you go on your phone, and you look at the weather, I'm pulling it up now. All right. There you go. All right. When you go on your phone, many of you, I'm sure, have been doing this. I'm talking about in the local area there. One of the things, you look at the weather, the temperature and all that, right? And you scroll down to this section here that says air quality, right? Some people look at it, if you're not unless you're in the area, you probably don't look at it. Okay. But in this case here, we're looking at Conyers and you look at the air quality. Now, when you click on that, and I'm going to bring that next thing up here in a moment, it's saying that it's moderate, right? It's moderate. Okay, so it must be the air is clear. I was out earlier today and it looked clear to me. So it must be fine. We must be okay. Right? Okay. And then let me pull this up. All right. So what you got on your screen here now, notice it's all green. Oh, look at that. The air must be clean. Wow, everything looks like it's okay. And it says air quality index is 56, which is similar to yesterday at about this time. Okay. Y'all must be doing okay. Everything's done. Everything's clear. We're all good, right? Okay. Now look at this final piece. And I'm glad at least iPhone provides this information. Let's go here. There you go. Okay. So let's look at this right here. It says pollutant details. Now, fortunately, it shows you exactly what that image number 1 and image number 2, what it's based off of. All right. And what they're actually testing for. All right. And they give you the list: carbon monoxide, nitrogen dioxide, nitrogen monoxide, nitrogen oxides, ozone, particulates under 10, and then they give you that they give you that. So this is the things that they are testing for. All right. And so based off of these levels here, they'll put up there and say, okay, it's safe. But the thing is that what is not shown is, are they testing for the dioxins and stuff that are in the air that could be related to this, the biolab's fire? Are they testing for that? And that's not on the list. So like the Scott Smith, like he's been saying, you can't find what you ain't looking for. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you ain't looking for it, then it looks like everything's fine. Everything's cool, right? So this is what I want you to keep in mind too, for those of you who've been using your weather app to kind of determine the air quality in your area. And if you notice that if your app is saying everything's green, everything's fine, keep in mind that what they are testing for and what they're monitoring, a lot of it is stuff that's not related to what was coming out of the biolab fire. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what you need to get. That's where the value of independent testing comes in, to make sure that they're testing for the specific things that came out of that whole biolab fire. Is it still present in the air? That kind of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to share with you as well with that. And you want to make sure that, whoever you got, you guys get to do testing, you always want to make sure you want to demand that they do. You want to get independent testing. All right. As a resident of Rockdale County, let me say it again. You want to demand independent testing. Independent. You don't want just the EPA. Okay, the EPA, they're going to say whatever they're going to say. You don't want any branch of the federal government. You want to get somebody that's independent of the EPA, someone who has a record of taking the EPA to task on stuff that they have deliberately missed, or maybe things that they didn't deliberately miss. So when you as the residents, when y'all get together for your town hall or whatever, this is what you want to demand. All right. An independent tester, someone similar to like a Mr. Scott here, and others who specialize in this area, number one, and number two, they have a record. You can go back and look at their social medias or whatever studies that they produce where they have actively taken the EPA to task for not doing things correctly. You understand what I'm saying? That's how you need to look at this whole thing when you're trying to get somebody that's an independent tester. Okay. So I'm just trying to help you out with some of these things, and hopefully, it'll do some good, for the good people down there in Rockdale County. So that's what I wanted to come to you and present this for you this evening. On that, I just came across this, and like I said, big shout out again to the admin for the Facebook page for this, for the people that are local that are monitoring this situation. They are constantly posting information. You got locals that little bit of information, a lot of information, but it's all good information, for people to look at. The other thing is you got attorneys like Morgan & Morgan and some of these other attorney groups. You want to be very careful. I've been saying over and over again, you do not want to rush and sign up with any of them. Not at this time. You do not want to do it, because their number one goal is to drive this thing to settlement. All right. You don't want to do that. Wait. And you need to take the time, get with other people who are also in the same boat. And then you can go through each one of these attorneys out there and find out who will make the best fit and who really seems like they have your best interests at heart. And don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll just show the Facebook group one more time for those who need to see it. So this is it. Again, it's called Stand Against Biolab in Rockdale County. So if you're on Facebook, make sure you subscribe to them so that you can stay up on top of everything that's going on there. I want to make sure I covered everything. I think I did. Okay, so I think we're good. That's it. Any other questions, you can definitely forward it to them. The small thing that, like I said, we're doing here on our platform is we actually put together a group of herbs, made it into a tea. I'm bringing it up for you right now. And if you go to sambatree.com, that's our store. And what we did is we came up with something here that will help, at least in a natural way, clear out your lungs. Okay. If you're in the Rockdale County area or in Atlanta metro area, I want you to click on this one. All right. Because this is the one where we knock 50% off. And it's 11 herb respiratory rescue and detox tea. And it has all of these things in there. You could take the time and look at it. Again, the website is sambatree.com. Make sure you check it out. And this is a great natural way to rid your body of a lot of those toxins. This is not a replacement for any kind of medical doctor or medical treatment, but it is just a natural alternative that you can use in conjunction to whatever it is, any other professional help you may seek, in trying to help your body with this. Okay. So I just wanted to bring that out to you. That's it. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sure we'll have a video or two going up tomorrow. So we're going to stay busy here. So, okay. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys take care, and I'll see you again soon.